Hello everybody, this is the iPhone channel here. Over here is the new iPhone 16e, and many of you guys have been wondering, should you actually buy the new iPhone 16e or should you actually buy the used iPhone 15 Pro? Well, you might be surprised to hear, but you could actually find some 15 Pro models for under $600. I'm currently on swapper.com and there are actually a few 15 Pro models for under $600. Let me show you guys the unlocked variant starting at $575. Now, many of them would actually be in fair condition, but I did find two which are actually in good condition. As you guys can see, this supposedly costs $575, but it is in excellent condition with minor wear and tear. However, there is no power cord or charger and the battery health is at 100%. The other variant of the 15 Pro actually costs $575, but features noticeable wear and tear, which includes a ton of scratches and stuff. Large deep scratches or swirl marks, may have moderate screen burn that does not impair functionality, and no cracks. And guess what? The battery health is at 80% and there is no power cord or charger. But in reality, that 15 Pro actually costed only $575, and same with the previous one. And despite the fact USB-C to USB-C cables actually cost $20 at Apple, you could buy quite a handful of them for around $5 to $10, especially at CVS and stuff. And not only could you buy the 15 Pro through Swapper, you could also buy it through eBay and Amazon, but just do some due diligence first. Now, unfortunately, the phone I display is not really the 15 Pro, but the 15 Pro Max. But in reality, the only difference between the 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max is really the display size, as well as, you guessed it, the battery capacity. The camera and processor are effectively identical, so I could actually use this as sort of a comparison point to the 16e, despite some discrepancies in certain areas. Now let's start with pricing for the 16e. The 16e actually starts at $600 for the base 128GB variant. However, if you bought more storage, it would actually cost more. Over here, it shows you guys the price for the 256GB variant at $700 and the half a terabyte variant at $900. And unfortunately, there is no 1 terabyte option. If you want the 1 terabyte option, then you're better off buying the 15 Pro. And now, ironically, despite the fact the regular 15 Pro does include 4 storage capacities at 128 gigs, 256 gigs, and half a terabyte and 1 terabyte. In fact, the 15 Pro Max, of which I have over here, does not include a 128GB option. Now, a major difference between these two phones is you could readily buy the 16e at the Apple Store, and the 15 Pro you could only buy via third party. And another major difference is in the colors, because on the 16e you only get black and white. There are actually 4 colors on the 15 Pro, including black titanium, white titanium, blue titanium, which I have over here, and natural titanium. And I feel like the 15 Pro does have more premium materials with the titanium frame, as opposed with the aluminium frame with the 16e. However, both have a matte glass back, and both do include Apple Intelligence. Okay guys, you actually activate it by holding on the power button. And using the Playground app, you could actually generate some AI images over here. Now you could actually scroll like this. And there are many more of which I don't have time to show you guys. Now, despite the fact the 16e does have a old-fashioned notch and the 15 Pro does have the dynamic islands, both the 15 Pro and 16e have a 6.1-inch display. But the 15 Pro does have always on display and ProMotion display, meaning instead of having 60 Hz, there's actually 120 Hz support over here. Now, both phones are actually rated at 460 pixels per inch. However, the iPhone 16e only has the old-fashioned 60 Hz, just like I mentioned, which is actually pathetic in today's standards, as a $30 HMD Vive does have a 90 Hz display. And let me tell you guys about the max brightness, because they're actually different. As for the 16e, the max brightness is at 800 nits in typical environments and 1200 nits in HDR, whilst for the 15 Pro, you do have a max brightness of 1000 nits in typical environments, 1600 nits in HDR, and 2000 nits, aka 2000 nits outdoors. And now let's talk battery. As you guys can see, my 15 Pro Max does have a lower battery capacity than that of the new 16E, which do mean I might have to replace the battery in the next few years if the battery reaches below, like, say 75 or 70%. And that is made a lot worse because the iPhone 16E does incorporate a 3961 mAh battery or 4005 mAh battery, whichever source you read, and the 15 Pro only has a 3274 mAh battery, so there is actually a lower battery capacity on the 15 Pro, and because of battery degradation, therefore you do get significantly shorter battery life on the 15 Pro. However, the iPhone 15 Pro does include LTPO variable hertz display, aka ProMotion, and with this it could actually adjust the screen refresh rate from 1 hertz to about 120 hertz, meaning you're not stuck at a constant 60 hertz, meaning your battery life could actually be slightly better. But in reality, the 16E does have another trick up its sleeve, and that is the C1 modem. If you guys don't know, the C1 modem actually not only improves the battery life, but also improves some cellular data in congested networks, which could easily propel the iPhone 16E to first place in terms of battery life compared to that of the 15 Pro. Now, due to the fact the 15 Pro does have a low battery capacity, and plus this is actually a 15 Pro Max, I do not believe it would actually be fair to test out the battery, so therefore I'm not going to test out the battery. Even if I buy a 15 Pro, I would probably not get 100% battery capacity. And as you guys can see, both phones do incorporate the action button rather than a ring switch button. And over here is how to operate the action button. You could actually silent and ring over here. And you could actually edit as well. As you guys can see, camera even. And just like the 15, the 16E does not have any camera button of any kind. And the iPhone 15 Pro does incorporate a triple camera setup, whilst the 16E only incorporates a single camera setup. Now let's move on to transfer speeds, because despite the fact both of these phones do incorporate USB-C, there's only USB 2.0 on the 16E, which indicates transfer speeds of 480 megabits per second, whilst the 15 Pro actually does have USB 3.0 transfer speeds of 10 gigabits per second. So you would expect 20 times faster transfer speeds on the 15 Pro as opposed with the 16E. The 16E also does not have any MagSafe capability of any kind, only Qi wireless charging of up to 7.5 watts, whilst the 15 Pro does have MagSafe capability, meaning you could actually charge up to 15 watts using a 20 watt or higher wireless charger. However, the opposite is actually true with the charging speeds, as the 16E technically has faster wired charging speeds at up to 29 watts, whilst the 15 Pro, according to some reliable measures, only has a max charging speed of 25 watts. However, on both phones you can actually charge from empty to about 50% in about 30 minutes, and about empty to full, aka 0 to 100, in 90 minutes. Both phones do support water resistance of IP68, which means you could actually submerge these two phones in 6 meters of water for up to 30 minutes. Okay guys, let's talk about processors, because the iPhone 16E does incorporate the new A18 chip, which is what's found on the 16, but there's one catch. Instead of having a 5-core GPU, there's actually a 4-core GPU on the 16E. However, the 16E remains similar to that of the 16, with a 6-core CPU, aka 4 efficiency, 2.1 to 2.3 gigahertz, depending on what source you read, and 2 performance cores at 4.03 gigahertz, and there's actually 8 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM and a 16-core neural engine, whilst the 15 Pro does incorporate the older A17 Pro 6-core CPU with 4 efficiency, 2.11 gigahertz, and 2 performance cores at 3.78 gigahertz with a 6-core GPU. Yes, 6-core GPU and 8 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM and a 16-core neural engine. So why not? I'm actually going to test the Geekbench results, starting with the CPU and then the GPU, because I do believe the iPhone 15 Pro does have a better GPU. So why not? I'm actually going to see you guys soon. Okay guys, the scores are nearly in. I do believe this 16E did finish first. And let's wait for the 15 Pro. Okay guys, as you guys can see, the 16E did beat out the 15 Pro. Now over here is the GPU benchmark test. Okay guys, the 15 Pro did finish first. And as you guys can see, the 15 Pro does have a better score than that of the 16E. Why not? Let's load some apps, shall we? The settings. (7-Eleven), Firefox. Well, the 16E did load significantly quicker. And of course, let's load Flixbus. And why not? Let's try out the McDonald's app. Wow, it is absolutely crazy. But it is kind of a bit biased, so why not? I'm actually going to reload. Okay guys, McDonald's once again. Holy shit. YouTube. And last up is actually the Star Market app. Okay guys, leave your comments down below on which phone is actually faster. Okay guys, now on to the Wi-Fi, because both of these phones do support Wi-Fi 6 802.11ax, but the 15 Pro does take it up a notch with the Wi-Fi 6E, which does allow access to the new 6 gigahertz band. And both of these phones do have Bluetooth 5.3, but the catch is, even though the 15 Pro does have 2nd gen ultra wide band, the 16E doesn't, and the 16E also doesn't support millimeter wave 5G, just sub 6 gigahertz 5G. Okay guys, over here is the speed test. I'm actually going to blur out the location, but as you can see guys, there is actually a significant edge on that of the 15 Pro. I've actually set the settings the exact same, so there's actually not going to be any bias. But as you can see, there's actually a significant edge on the 15 Pro. Now I'm on the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. But as you guys can see, yes, a significant edge on the 15 Pro. And why not? Let's talk about cameras now, because both of these phones do have a 48 megapixel main camera, but the difference is the 16E actually has a single camera lens, whilst the 15 Pro actually has a triple camera lens. Despite the fact the 16E only has a single camera lens, you could actually take 2x telephoto shots. That is due to the fact the 16E does have a single 2-in-1 camera system. Now the 16E actually has a single f1.6 48 megapixel 2-in-1 camera system, which supports optical image stabilization, smart HDR5 photos, and 4K 60, but there is no action mode nor ProRes of any kind. The 15 Pro on the other hand does have 3 cameras, a main 48 megapixel f1.78 camera, a 12 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide camera, and a 12 megapixel f2.8 telephoto camera with 2nd gen sensor chip optical image stabilization, 3x optical zoom support, smart HDR5 photos, better portrait mode, 4K 60 video recording, action mode, and ProRes video support. And both do have a 12 megapixel f1.9 front facing camera, but the 15 Pro does have better portrait mode. And even though both could record 4K 60, the Pro does include ProRes recording. So why not? Let's do the camera test, shall we? Okay guys, over here is a recording between the 16E and 15 Pro in 4K 60. Okay guys, yes, over here is the video selfie. And lastly, over here is an outdoor video sample between the two phones. Now I do believe the 15 Pro Max does have clearer photos and videos, and also has greater white balance and contrast as well. Okay guys, the last thing I'd mention to you guys before the video gets too long is the iPhone 15 Pro is a little bit smaller in dimensions, aka 0.1 millimeters shorter, 0.9 millimeters narrower, but it is actually 0.45 millimeters thicker, and it's actually 20 grams heavier at 187 grams versus 167 grams on the 16E. Okay guys, here is the conclusion. In my opinion, if it were me, I would actually buy the 15 Pro over the 16E, but if you couldn't stand the battery life, nor the processor, nor any of this riffraff, and you need a phone immediately, then I would actually recommend buying the 16E. And the reason why I do recommend the 15 Pro over the 16E is, despite the fact the 15 Pro does have a shorter battery life and a slower processor, in fact you do have a better GPU in trade-off, and plus you do have a myriad of features such as always on display, ProMotion display, higher brightness, more premium materials, MagSafe charging, faster Wi-Fi, millimeter 5G support, faster data transfer speeds, and more importantly, a better camera. And that is of course with the trade-off of the fact you're buying a used phone which is heavily dented and stuff, but in reality, if it were me, I would probably buy the 15 Pro. So thank you guys for watching. Please give a big thumbs up, subscribe for more videos, and I'm gonna see you guys soon.